that he can exude over
why
the
is
next 2 months. And
Biden
that's what he's
trying
going to do.
to allow Ukraine to use American weapons right now that has not been used since the beginning of the war?
Well, for the past 1,000 days, I've been urging this administration to act more swiftly in supplying Ukraine with what it needed. Every time there was discussions and requests for tanks, Abrams tanks, drones, these missile capabilities, long-term, long range, short range, etc. And in order to keep the peace and not try to be seen as helping to escalate or the United States directly escalating this conflict, President Biden has stepped out from that, from making that move, including not putting U.S. troops on the ground, supplying the missiles, supplying the intelligence, supplying all of the things that Ukraine needed to fight its own battle. But President Biden, as I stated, knows exactly what's at stake over these next 2 months, because everything that he has worked really hard to lead the coalition of all of the other countries that are the allies of Ukraine and that have also supported Ukraine along with the United States, not just the United States alone, are all going to also lose their investment, if you want to put it in the terms that Donald Trump uses, that they need to start paying their own way and that the United States should not continue to absorb most of the cost in support of them. That goes against our NATO treaty and it goes against anything that we've ever committed to any of our allies. So that puts the United States in a very precarious position where our allies begin to not trust the United States because we're pulling back from commitments that we made. And that is not good diplomacy. And that is what gives me fear about long-term consequences for our national security here in the U.S.
All right. Asif, now, Laurie mentioned the use of intercontinental ballistic missiles against Dnipro, as I've mentioned also before. Now, what are the implications of using the ICBM right now on any political or diplomatic efforts that cease to exist? And how far is Vladimir Putin prepared to go in terms of military escalations, and putting in mind that nuclear weapons and the nuclear rhetoric is on the table right now?
I think that the upcoming phase, at least in the upcoming few weeks, and I think that it will continue to hit Ukrainian with this type of missiles. As you mentioned, it is the first time in the history of humanity to use the intercontinental ballistic missiles used to be practiced in an experiment matter. And it is a clear signal that Russia is going to continue this war until the end. And the second thing is that Russia is going so swiftly in the field. And I think the Ukraine forces sitting back in all the suburbs and the villages, even in Kursk, were entered, but they never succeeded to achieve anything. Therefore, there's a theory by saying that Russia would bear what is left from the left missiles that Ukraine, even Atacms or it's only a few number, and the Western country never manufactured a great quantity of this type of missiles. And there is an opinion say that we can observe this type of hit and the matter and of the withdrawal of Ukrainian, and it's only a matter of time. And the second step, and I think that Russia in the upcoming few minutes that will destroy totally the infrastructure in Ukraine. In 2022, that destroyed 36% in the past, and a large percentage. But up till now, it is an unbearable situation, including the energy plant that is linked to the nuclear plant, and it is a signal for the European state that as destroying the nuclear plants, that means the cutting off the electricity of the engineering system that are feeded out of this type of plants, and Ukraine will use the diesel-made plant and signal and pressure for the European countries. And the other options are many, But unfortunately, all indicators indicate that we are going to a comprehensive war, whether we are going to use nuclear weapons or not. I've heard from the U.S. Former officials in the Pentagon by saying that we'll exchange the nuclear missiles between Russia and the USA. But the point that I wish to indicate why Biden, before the end of his term, that he changed his heart. There's another opinion that if there is a compromise between the US and Russia, to that extent that Trump will manage to end the war. It's not only this, but deepen the possibility of the authority transfer, as Trump will make the all Americans affected by headache